happening tonight in Vancouver.
More slips, trips, falls, those types of events, as well as other serious occurrences are happening.
Working 12 hours a day, often 10 days in a row. Firefighting crews in BC are getting burned out. Just ahead, we hear from officials on whether they should expect to have a break anytime soon.
There are so many things that women are already doing.
Police host women's safety workshops as Vancouver sees a spike in sexual assaults. Why one advocate has mixed feelings about the message it sends to women and girls.
There's been challenges with COVID and with smoke and all of those things, but there's still ways of going to explore.
BC Tourism saying they need your business. Even popular hotspots have space.
It's been definitely what we were hoping for this summer. The occupancy is not as high as it was in 2019.
This is City News Everywhere.
Fatigue is something that we have a concern with.
BC firefighters are exhausted with reports of more slips, trips and falls as they battle the over 250 wildfires burning in our province.
It's been a long summer for many of our firefighters and staff supporting the efforts. With that increased fatigue, we're starting to see more safety concerns come forward. More slips, trips, falls, those types of events, as well as other serious occurrences are happening.
The manager of fire operations, Todd Nessman, says the BC Wildfire Service is paying close attention to crews needing relief. Right now, the majority of the 3,800 personnel battling the flames are still camping out in tents, and many may have to leave in the coming weeks.
We will be looking closer at our crew numbers with the impending drop-off with personnel going back to post-secondary institutions in September. Not only our staff, but our contractors, is something that we will be monitoring closely and working with our partners to mitigate that shortfall.
We're nowhere near out of the woods, and we have to keep working to support our firefighting and emergency management crews.
Right now, relief crews are being provided from the military, Yukon, and Quebec. Public Safety Minister Mike Farnworth once again getting questions Thursday about why Premier Horgan is out of province on vacation while BC continues to burn.
The men and women in the fire service are doing everything they can to ensure to not only protect life and property, but fighting the fires. And the Premier is briefed every single day, and he is very much aware of what is going on.
Meanwhile, at least 500 RCMP officers are providing security support, patrolling areas under evacuation to ensure looters don't go near anyone's belongings while they abide by evacuation orders.
We're doing what we do best, and that is patrolling your communities and looking for signs of criminality or suspicious activity, which we have not found to date.
With rain in the forecast for the next few days, officials hope the wet weather will offer the help crews so desperately need. In Vancouver, Ashley Burr, City News.
There are so many things that women are already doing.
Vancouver police are holding women's safety workshops as the city sees a spike in sexual assaults and some recent disturbing crimes involving young girls. But safety classes are stirring questions about whether the onus is being put on women instead of perpetrators.
Awareness and prevention are your best options.
The first of the workshops, hosted by female officers, is Friday, focusing on safety tips, prevention, and self-defense. VPD reported a 129% increase in stranger sexual assaults in July compared to July 2019.
And so when we train our eyes more on those that would perpetrate, we're in a better position to addressing it. So we're definitely in a better place as a culture, as a society than we were, let's say, 40 years ago. But let's not, fool ourselves.
In a set of disturbing crimes on Tuesday afternoon, two 11-year-old girls were walking near the seawall when they were approached by a man on a bike who groped one of them. Police say he followed them, then groped the other girl. A half an hour later, a 15-year-old jogging by Science World was also assaulted. Officers say it was also a man on a bike.
These victims did absolutely nothing wrong. People should not have to change their behavior as a result of this, and we're not trying to strike fear in people. We're not encouraging people to change their behavior. The people that really need to change their behavior are the offenders.
VPD recently relaunched a 2019 social media campaign, Hands Off, making it clear groping is a crime. But the workshops have been running for years. Battered Women's Support Services has partnered with police for these workshops in the past. Executive Director Angela Marie McDougall says they can be empowering, but she has mixed feelings about them.
What is the message that we're sending when we're putting personal safety, self-defense workshops in the context of sexualized violence? Because what we do know is that girls and women, we are socialized to prevent, to do everything we can in our ability to prevent stranger sexual assault.
In Vancouver, Crystal Ladaris, City News.
The number of daily COVID-19 cases in the province has jumped again today. The province reported 689 new cases and another 2 people have died. A long-term care facility in Chilliwack is the site of another outbreak. So far, 74% of eligible British Columbians have received 2 vaccine doses.
BC's tourism operators urging people to make the most of these last few weeks of summer, saying they need your business. With wildfires and COVID, even the most crowded spots still have space.
Close to 2019 numbers, not the same, but close to 2019 numbers.
After more than a year at reduced capacity in Tofino and other hotspots, it might feel like they're full, she says, but they're not. A note to the town's tourism email, an easy way to see what's available for your dates.
It's a great way to sort of put out feelers in all areas, for B&Bs, vacation rentals, campgrounds, resorts, hotels, motels, everything.
And if you don't want to battle any crowds, there are similar sites with space.
If you've never been to Ucluelet, oh my goodness, it's the most beautiful place that you could visit.
There are hundreds of First Nations options in all corner of BC, from rustic to luxury, but she says you don't have to go far away to get away. Places like Takaya Water Tours are right in Metro Vancouver.
They talk about that rich cultural history that they've had and their relationship with the lands and the waters in which they're from, and is very transformative in nature.
To quell COVID concerns, you can check out BC's most vaccinated regions on the BCCDC website. They also have the province's COVID-19 hotspots. Note the health warning is still in place to avoid visiting the Kelowna area if not essential or if not fully vaccinated. But even with that and staying away from areas with active wildfires, there's a lot to choose from.
Vancouver, Lower Mainland, Whistler, Vancouver Island, some parts of the Kootenays, some parts of northern BC, some parts of the Caribou, and then the North Thompson all have availability.
In Tofino, that's had a bump in business as people avoided wildfires and smoke, they're still eager to welcome as many travelers as want to make it their way.
It's been definitely what we were hoping for this summer. The occupancy is not as high as it was in 2019.
So they're hoping you don't give up if you want to get away. For City News in Victoria, I'm News 1130's Lisa Yuzda.
Oh, God. Sister, brother, all my family in Afghanistan.
Watching and feeling helpless at home. A New Westminster man shares his fears for his family in Afghanistan as the Taliban seize power and block routes to airports.
We are shocked right now. 2 days, we cannot sleep, we cannot eat, we cannot work, we cannot do anything. Just we thinking what we can do for them.
Mohammed Amin Ahmadi moved to BC 15 years ago and has been running the nonprofit Social Forum Hope to fight against child poverty and child labor in Afghanistan. He's worried for both family and staff who work in the country, whom he hasn't been able to reach for a few days now.
My family is working in the organization, looks like volunteer or official, is working there. Everybody know about it. They worry if the Taliban choose searching one by one, go to home, they catch them because of they work with the out of country for the Canadian people.
Professor of Political Science at Simon Fraser University, Andy Hira, says Ahmadi is justified in his fears and adds many others are living with the same worries.
Yeah, there's no question that those concerns are valid because the Taliban would have seen anyone collaborating with the former government as traitors in a sense to the country. They say that they won't have reprisals, but I wouldn't count on it, right? Because they have a very medieval sense of justice.
Kira is hopeful the pressures of neighboring countries and outside powers that could hurt or help Afghanistan economically will push the Taliban to a more moderate political stance for the time being, and believes change will only really happen over generations.
You have to work with the forces that are arrayed on the ground itself. You have to coax people and persuade people about the advantages of democratic rule and about women's rights. You can't do that across the barrel of a gun.
Ahmadi continues to be fearful for his family back home, doing anything he can to try to help, despite being an ocean away.
Unfortunately, it's a very, very hard moment for us.
In Vancouver, Ashley Burr, City News.
There's a number of policies and programs that if we release, as we say, 15% of some of the Crown holdings, it will give supply to be built, including property, not just existing buildings.
Conservative Party leader Aaron O'Toole says the federal government is just sitting on land that could be turned into new homes, and as Prime Minister, he would do just that. But O'Toole is being asked to clarify once again his position on abortion after other party leaders attack a provision in the Conservative platform that they say could allow healthcare workers to refuse even referrals to procedures they object to.
I'm pro-choice, and we will make sure that women have the ability to make decisions with respect to their health care themselves and make sure that abortion services are available from one coast, from one ocean to the other. And what's interesting about this election is all federal leaders are pro-choice.
O'Toole has stated repeatedly he won't re-debate abortion, and as far as he's concerned, the issue is settled. The Conservative Party says the conscience provision is more to do with medically assisted dying and not intended to restrict access to abortion. But Liberal leader Justin Trudeau is accusing O'Toole of double talk.
Pro-choice doesn't mean the freedom of doctors to choose. It means the freedom of women to choose. Leaders have to be unequivocal on that, and once again, Aaron O'Toole is not, and he's saying certain things to some people and it's opposite to others.
It's really a sign that the Conservatives are just missing the plot on this. We know that the big concern for women particularly is a lack of access to abortion services.
Campaigning in Edmonton, Jagmeet Singh echoed Trudeau's remarks on abortion while also slamming Trudeau for keeping federal health transfer payments to provinces at Stephen Harper-era levels.
We absolutely believe in increasing healthcare transfers, and we believe in expanding healthcare in general, and that's why we're talking about bringing long-term care into the public system, why we believe in making sure medication coverage is included in our healthcare system.
In Ottawa, Shaoli Lee, City News.
Fresh off an Olympic gold medal win and making Canadian history, Christine Sinclair keeps herself busy at home by partnering up with a cause she holds dear to her heart.
I grew up in a household with a parent living with MS, and I've seen firsthand how hard that is and the devastation it can cause an individual and a family.
Here's a live shot of BC Place tonight, where the Lions will take on the Edmonton Elks at 7 in their home opener. The first live sporting event in the city in a year and a half. Only 50% of seats were available for sale, and masks are strongly recommended. Proof of vaccinations will not be required for ticket holders, but a pop-up vaccine clinic is on site for anyone wanting to receive a dose, whether they're attending the game or not. Vancouver firefighters hit the streets of downtown Vancouver today to raise money for wildfire relief. People stopped to make donations and grab a quick photo op, including a special visit by Minister of National Defence Harjit Sajjan. If you weren't able to drop money in a boot today, donations can also be made online at vancouverfirefightercharities.ca. All funds will go to the Red Cross. Hundreds of backpacks were filled today for deserving Aboriginal youth in Vancouver's East Side. Rogers has donated 300 backpacks that include all the necessary school supplies for students of all ages. Rogers employee volunteers got the backpacks all ready to be distributed. The initiative originally began 30 years ago with the Aboriginal Friendship Society. Rogers is the parent company of City News. Vancouver's smelliest flower is stinking up the Bloedel Conservatory. The rare corpse flower emits an odor that's been described as the smell of rotting meat or dirty diapers. The plant, nicknamed Uncle Fester, started reeking at 9 p.m. Wednesday night. The bloom only lasts between 24 to 48 hours before it wilts and goes dormant again, sometimes remaining dormant as long as a decade. The last time it bloomed was back in 2018, and over 4,000 people lined up to get a whiff. According to conservatory staff, the pungent smell does serve a purpose.
It smells bad, so it's meant to attract pollinators. And those pollinators are the carrion beetle and the flesh fly, which are attracted to the smell of rotting meat. So its purpose is that its flower can be pollinated to produce fruits.
If you can't make it in person to take a look and sniff of the flower, you can catch a glimpse on the conservatory's live stream online. Vancouver's news is always available on the radio with News 1130 or online anytime at citynews1130.com. Your next edition of City News is tonight at 11. Thank you so much for watching and have a great night.